Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mikhail Peters. So I just got done doing a photo shoot with a baby, which was very exciting. And I guess today's video is going to be sort of discussing the idea of having multiple jobs in Finland, because the guy who photographed for me actually does multiple jobs, which I thought was interesting. I was like, that's very American of you. And one thing I wanted to discuss in general about this concept is that something I hear over and over again in Finland is that people don't really want to work more a lot of times because they feel that if they do, the tax bracket is then going to be higher and it's sort of the same difference, and then they're not really earning significantly much more income. So it's almost like you get opposite rewarded. So you don't get rewarded, is my point, for working more. So one of these jobs also was working as a nurse. So then I asked, okay, well, in the US, if you work more hours, you can get paid time and a half. Is that something here? Turns out it is, but in general, they're very apprehensive to approve people to work that much because, well, I guess it's more money for them and they're trying to keep expenses down themselves. So they don't really want that. And there is like quite a bit of, I guess, what is it like there is a really big unemployment issue here, and it's just really interesting to me trying to think about what things would, what's the word, like positively influence the economy, stimulate the economy. That's the word I'm looking for. So in the US, what does that is the whole buying on credit thing, which is definitely a lot less available here. So the idea of people being in debt is just a lot less of a thing than it is in the US. Like, people here tend to prefer renting, I would say, and then owning your own home, it seems like in the US is a lot more of a value than it is here. And I notice that people tend to be very okay with moving around rather frequently, whereas Americans seem to be in one place and kind of get stuck in one place. So I don't know, this concept is just very interesting to me, and it makes me think about if I were to actually make my startup into a more successful business, what that would look like in terms of profit margins and if it's even worth it. Now, for me, it would be dual purpose in the sense that actually, if you do have your own business in Finland and it is making some money, that is grounds enough to stay in Finland. So I think my weird startup business, I'll probably try to keep doing for the next years while I'm in a PhD program. And then if I can get it to a point where it's more sustainable, then I can just switch my residence permit to being related to that instead of just needing to continuously study. Now, personally, I really do prefer to have something that's more stable where I'm getting paid, but in terms of, in general, I think being in Finland as a foreigner is kind of risky because this is very cute. The baby is staring at me and I'm like, oh, so cute. Okay, distracting. But yeah, so like in Finland, yeah, being here is already risky. So I like the idea of kind of creating your own job. And, I was able to find something that somewhat generates money. It's just that I need to get better at executing it. I had 6 customers this year. Yeah, so whatever, I'll talk about this because if somebody else wants to use this idea, I think it's great. So there is this website already that exists in both the US and the UK and maybe some other English speaking countries I think it's called UniKit or something. And it's just like everything you need for when you're getting moved in when you start your university studies, and it gets delivered to you, and then you don't have to go out and buy all your own stuff. So I had 6 customers this year, like I said. Before I was just doing mattresses, now it's mattresses and more, which means that it also has pillows and bedding and stuff. And, people were interested in it. I had a few people get back to me too late because I had already placed the order. So I would have theoretically had 8 customers. But I think if I could make it more legit looking and a website and more commercialized and formalized, you can pay with a credit card, etc., then I think that would definitely, be the way to expand the business. So basically I'm going to need a web developer at some point, which means I'm going to have to pay somebody and hire somebody and maintain a website, which is expensive. The other thing is that this is very seasonal. So, yeah, I mean, but if it works once or twice a year, who cares? It's still a business. And then I guess you could take orders all year round if you really wanted to, but it's unlikely that you're going to. So, yeah. But anyway, I just think this concept of people trying to work less to not pay taxes is just such an interesting concept that I have heard over and over again from Finnish people. So it's just very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And so if you're looking at things from the perspective of, okay, I need money and I need to be more creative about how I get money, then yeah, that is why people create businesses. And that's why I'm a YouTuber, to be honest. Like, people are like, what, you do this just because you get paid? I mean, like, if I want to talk to myself, I can do that without recording it. So yeah, no, I do enjoy the user engagement, don't get me wrong. And then a lot of this channel is me trying to maintain my Russian in the absence of other ways to do that. Yeah, because now I'm focusing a little bit more on Finnish, keyword a little bit, keywords, whatever. Yeah, and then obviously focusing on the baby, who's so cute and being good right now. Having babies really cool. Don't know what else to say about that, but it's my opinion. Yeah, so I was just like, you know what, I felt kind of inspired today. I was like, yeah, I should do YouTube today. The reason I haven't been doing YouTube as much is because while I'm in Finland, I have friends that I can easily see who live like across the street and stuff, and I'm just like, hey, let's go for a walk, because the baby likes going for a walk, and I don't have access to this as readily in the US, so I was like, nah, I'll just go back to doing this when I get back to the US, but it's always a later problem. Yeah, I think the baby likes when I'm talking too, so that's cool. And she likes screens. Yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of it. It's like this hustle culture obviously doesn't exist in Finland, but I do wonder how much, if people were making more businesses, like how that would go. But also, even just like going to different city centers, like you're seeing a lot of empty buildings, and I'm like, yeah, what if you had enough money to like start something up there and try to make it successful? But then a lot of businesses go out of business because they run out of money. So, you know, that's a whole thing also. So, I don't know. I guess it's everything that I have for today. Just thinking more about, you know, maybe trying to continue with this startup in years to come and seeing if I can actually turn it into something more viable and worthy of getting a residence permit, or just abandon it. But either way, keeping the grind set even with a baby is maybe slightly a good idea. So therefore I will just keep recording YouTube videos. But yeah, so the point of this is the concept of avoiding working more in Finland to avoid paying more in taxes is like such a bizarre concept to me as an American, where you can just keep working and like, yeah, you'll pay taxes, but the taxes, while they're a good amount, they're not as much as here. So that is a whole thing. And like the speeding tickets based on how much you earn and all of that stuff, crazy. So yeah, I did talk to one Finnish friend I have and recently heard the opinion that in non-densely populated areas, namely Helsinki, Turku, and Tampere, it is basically like they are giving away houses and apartments for free because if you have a job, relatively speaking, the cost of them is so cheap. I'd like to hear anybody else's opinion on that and whether they agree with this or not. I'd really like to know. It does feel like the vast majority of people live in apartments and very few people actually have houses and live in houses and own their own houses, which again, to me as an American, is super weird because that is such a huge American value. Okay, well, I think that is everything that I have for today. Then what am I even gonna do today? I don't know. I ran into some friends yesterday and they're like, how's it going? I'm like, honestly, it just feels like COVID. And they're like, what? And I'm like, because I just do the same thing every day, which is basically nothing. It's basically eat, sleep, poop, repeat. No, I mean, actually though, and aside from that, it's going for like a 2-hour walk. It's kind of it. And then trying to see friends, but even that sometimes is like, that's work. I mean, yeah, probably seeing friends a lot. But yeah. Alright, well, that's going to be everything for today, and until my next video, whenever I feel like doing that is, bye.